you guys are no longer friends. Damn. They are no longer there when you have exciting news, and they're also no longer there to share your sadness, and vice versa. You now have no one to hang with, and you feel completely isolated and alone. Now you need to figure out how to go through life without them. That's super hard. And if you were super close, it's essentially a breakup. And with breakups come a lot of tears, a lot of anger, and a lot of emotions in general. I've gone through my fair share of this. And let me just tell you, not all friends are meant to stay in your life. Relationships can be like seasons. In each phase of your life, you may meet certain people who fit the exact same phase that you are currently going through. It's like you guys have an instant connection. This can typically happen, especially growing up, when everyone's going through school, going through the same thing, college applications, looking for jobs, all this stuff. You end up meeting people who are on the same phase of life as you. And what ends up happening, you assume that they'll be there for your entire life. But in reality, it's almost like a season of your life. And we go through thousands of seasons. And some of these seasons are meant to be hanging out with friends and having the biggest social life ever. And some seasons, you're meant to be alone. It's very important to know that not all relationships are going to remain exactly the same. We are changing constantly. You might not be able to see this on your day-to-day, but trust me, your personality is being shaped every single day. It's a little bit hard to grow alongside someone else. Which brings me back to this whole human journey experience. We are always changing, and every single human has their own journey, and each time you go through a new phase, it may or may not involve certain people in your life. There are some people that are there for the long haul. If you've noticed, well, I've noticed this in my life, these friends are kind of people I meet up with once in a while, and we just share our whole life with each other, and we are just completely there with each other. These are different types of friends that are genuinely there for you. But what happens when we go through life, when we go through professional career, when we go through school, is like we develop these friends, and the connection is based off of what you're going through in that similar situation. Once that situation comes to an end, it seems like the friendship might come to an end because the natural thing you guys had in common is no longer there. These are types of friendships that are always going to come up and leave in your life. You learn some things from this person, and that person has learned some things from you. This can also be applied to toxic relationships. This is why I'm such a preacher of divine timing and the fact that we don't actually have anything under control as humans. Is because I have a huge trust in the universe. And the reason I'm able to talk about this so positively is because I've gone through my fair share of this. I had two friends, very close friends actually, in high school, and even up until third, fourth year of university, felt like they were my ride or dies, and they understood me better than anyone else had in different ways. And it honestly felt like they were kind of my soulmates. So I had a real attachment. I got dumped. We weren't on the same journeys anymore. What I was doing with my life at that time was not similar to what they were doing in their life at that time. And then naturally, we just drifted. And then naturally, when you drift, you don't talk as much, you don't text as much. So naturally, the presence of these people in your life become less and less. And therefore, it's kind of the end of the relationship. And I think this also goes to show that you can't keep craving for a very similar type of energy that you once had with someone, because again, we are changing, we're growing. We shouldn't even be trying to crave a certain energy and friendship with someone. I had a hard time. They didn't have a hard time. I had a very hard time because I had real attachment, because I was going through something pretty rough in my life. And so it was almost like the last string that I was hanging from, which was hanging out with my friends and stuff, was taken away from me, and then I was utterly alone. But out of that came my spiritual awakening. Everything happens for a reason, guys. Like that's why you don't see things when you're in it. When you get out of it, which happens with time, you start to see things more holistically, and then you start to see that like, oh yeah, if that didn't happen, then this wouldn't happen, and then I wouldn't be where I am today. So it's the same thing with losing friends. It's the same thing with these relationships. Like those situations I've seen in my life, it's simply just people growing apart and drifting because it's time. A very beautiful thing that happens when you actually do lose your friends. When you lose your friends, you find yourself. Being alone is ultimately not such a bad thing. After all, in this lifetime, you are always going to have yourself. So why not be friends with this person? Why not go out alone, venture off to a new restaurant, go on long reflective drives, take baths and meditate, and just find peace internally. The more I am spending time with myself, the more I am actually enjoying it. It always takes away the power from someone else ruining your day because you have found happiness in being alone and you are at peace with that. This is not to say that you don't want to ever have friends again. Not at all. In fact, I have met the most amazing, wonderful friends because I had the space to attract these people into my life. But this just means that you don't have to form an unhealthy attachment to other people you no longer rely on to make you happy because you make yourself happy. No text back? No worries. They're probably busy with someone. Oh, you can't hang out? No worries. I can have fun on my own. The more you heal, the more you realize that the world does not revolve around you. Everyone is living their own lives and they are the main characters in their own life. And therefore, you stop personalizing everything that happens in life and you become the main character in your own life. This started happening to me when I lost my 2 friends. I was forced to heal. And it was really rough because I had to be alone. But the more time I spent alone, the more I realized that I was figuring out who I was. I was figuring out the things I like to do, things I don't like to do, and I actually started enjoying my mornings. I had my little regime. I used to make myself coffee, read a little bit of my book, do a little bit of work, go on walks, play with my cat, and I no longer needed to text someone or, have all these group chats. And perhaps this is just natural progression, what happens as you get older as well, but I'm really finding a lot of fun in being alone. And I have that perfect balance now. Now I go out with my friends on the weekends or every second weekend, and we make plans, and I still get my social interactions, but I'm able to not personalize every single time when someone else is not able to hang out and think, oh my god, it must be me. Like, trust me, you outgrow this phase once you start healing, and the only way you can start healing is if you start to love yourself, because at the end of the day, no one else knows your brain. Nobody except you, so why not make yourself your best friend? I hope this video... Can't say anything. I hope this video made you feel better, especially if you're someone going through a friendship heartbreak. With that being said, I'll see you guys next video. Much love to you all.